So anyway, hey Joe, how you doing? This is IDT Thesis 599, and I want to do 20 November 2017, and I'm going to spend just 5 minutes or so talking about some stuff that we covered last week, a little bit about the components of the repository that you're going to submit, and about the actual process for submitting that. And so these are works in progress, unfortunately, but we're getting better, I think, at having these laid out. So this is our first attempt at having a process that's consistent and with the digital age. Strange that we're behind. So anyway, so I'm going to start with the process for submission first. So the idea there, the ultimate objective is to get a zip file to the library that the library can deposit in their in the IDT thesis repository. And they need a zip file that they can read, and all the components are readable, and they've got their own process, which we should very much participate in. And so the idea here is what I want to do is have the student upload, everybody, you guys upload your zip file to Blackboard, and then the faculty will review that zip file and approve it simultaneously or afterwards. The library will review the zip file and approve it. Faculty approve it first, and then the library looks at it, make sure it's okay, and they just take it directly into their repository from Blackboard. And after that, once we get the library approval, the faculty submits a grade for IDT 599. And that's what actually means that you've completed the thesis class. It doesn't mean you've graduated. You have to fulfill all the other requirements, but that would mean that your thesis or project, you have a grade for that. And when that's done, all the other grades, all the other requirements met, then the registrar will approve your graduation. So we're going to try and do that this semester. And I will be adding an assignment to Blackboard and making a link here about where exactly that goes. So I still have to build that infrastructure, but it will show up here. And there'll be a link here directly to the Blackboard, and this will get updated. As far as what you submit exactly, your thesis component plus your project files, everybody's kind of a little bit different. We've been reviewing that. We reviewed that last week, I think, in detail. I think there were a couple of outstanding questions. There appears to be no word limit in abstracts. That was a creature of my memory from the print world. And the current standards at UMI is no limits on the words for abstracts. Every submission should have a table of contents listing major sections. They should have lists of tables, lists of figures, and that's easily doable in Microsoft Word automatically, and so you should do that. And then formatting and supplemental files consistent with the style guide, I'll click on that. Copyright clearance form, which I need some more detail on, and then a README file for your zip of everything that's being incorporated. So this is a style guide that I found that I think we're willing to live with. So we assume that we're going to go into the ProQuest dissertation publishing standards, and this, I think, is a good, excellent set of guidelines to follow. This is where they say they no longer have a word limit on the abstracts, we don't. As far as I know, our library doesn't have reduced size bound copies, but others might. So you might want to read through this and make sure you meet all these standards. And then supplementary materials. These are your projects, audio, video, spreadsheets. The source files, your Word documents are included as supplementary materials, the ones that generate your PDF. If you have work files, drafts and data sheets that you want to include those. The more you provide, the more useful your repository is to future scholars. So you can put anything you want in there. Those get uploaded, and there's some description there about what they want to make sure and how you do it, and you will follow their guidelines. Okay. And I think if you're licensing stuff, we should talk about that if there's third-party software licenses. And so we should look at that. And it's unclear to me, and so someone is welcome to review that. For example, if a WordPress file requires the license or not, that would be an open question that we should address with each of your projects individually. The rest I'm going to let you follow through. These are all formats, and I'd be happy to help you with any questions, although this is not my, so I think we can work through the library and others and hopefully answer all your questions. So, okay, so I'm going to stop there. Joe, do you have questions, or did I cover everything you could possibly need to know?
I have some questions that are unique to me.
Okay, well, let's go through them because they're probably not. You know how it goes. So, yeah, so anyway, so if you want to listen to Joe's questions, if he doesn't mind, we'll deal with Joe's. If his
Sure.
so then we'll just go. So here's a good break point for anybody.
So one of the issues that you and I have been talking about is the embedding of my videos into my PDF. I see a line specifically down there that says, do not embed media files into your PDF. So is that saying that we're not doing that then? I had been linking externally to YouTube videos, but I know you're concerned about the YouTube videos degrading over time, the links degrading over time. So yeah.
Nice pickup. So what do they say? Digital preservation best practices recommend including media as supplemental file rather than embedding multimedia.
I mean, so for references to the immediate work, I'm happy.
Let's think about this though, Joe. So how could we, let's satisfy all audiences.
Okay.
And so in terms of preservation, you should include all your source files.
And I will be doing that.
Yeah.
But for immediate reviewing, I've been linking out specifically to the YouTube clips. Because remember, the advantage of the YouTube clip was I could specify a beginning and end point for within those larger media files. So during immediate review process, you can click on the thumbnails that I'll have included in my PDF that will take you just to like a 10 or 15 second clip within a video file, as opposed to having to watch the entire video to get the gist of what I'm referring to. Mm-hmm. And since I refer to the same videos multiple times, if I were to segment out each of those clips, instead of having 12 or 13 videos, I could potentially have 30 something videos that would have to be referred to, which gets a little unwieldy, which is why I went with the linking option within YouTube. So, I mean, for immediate response, that's great, but the entirety of the media files will be included with the project as supplemental material.
Okay. So that's a specific challenge that there's a couple of different ways to deal with that, I think. Mm-hmm. So do you write HTML?
I do not know.
Okay. Do you want to?
Considering where I'm at right now, not really at all.
Okay.
I've still got.
That's fine.
Multiple irons in the fire as far as.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. So, if you wrote HTML, then you could just write your own queries in effect against those videos in a database.
Sure.
So there's just, it's HTML5 code, and it's a little tricky to get working. So, and YouTube does a really nice job. Mm-hmm. So what I suggest we do, and I don't know how we want to focus on sort of two different versions of your output. So that's what I was getting at with the source file, right? So there's a presentation layer that you could say, here's the presentation layer, or my project with embedded PDFs. Okay, and this worked when I made it in 2017, and I don't know when you're looking at it, but good luck. Mm-hmm. And if anything doesn't work, here's all the source files that you would need. Okay, here's copies of the YouTube videos in case YouTube is a paid service. Who knows, right? Or whatever, no longer available. And here's like, you can see everything that you'd possibly need to see by downloading this zip file. And it might take you a little bit of work. There's not fancy links to it. They don't start and stop, but all the stuff that you really need is right here.
Yeah.
So, and you can build that into your citation. You write in Microsoft Word, right?
Yeah, I am for this project, yes.
Yeah. Do you use style sheets?
I don't know.
Okay.
I had been using a master document, and this is something I wanted to talk to you about offline, but my rough draft that was submitted, I found out days after submitting it, had there were problems with the master document, which I wanted to talk to you about. But yes, I've reverted now to a more simplistic fashion of copying and pasting from my individual documents into a larger document that I'll be turning into a PDF. It's not as handy as working from a master document, but the master document that I was using for my rough draft corrupted and reverted some of my previous documents. I've had to redo it with work. And now that I've been bitten by that once, I don't intend to go back down that path.
God, it's been so long since I can't remember producing a document like this in Word. It's been a while. But master documents were like a way of...
It's a reference document to all the various parts, like all of those essays that I had written. It would have linked to those. It would have linked to a document that was my abstract, my conclusion. All of my different chapters were links within this document. What happened when I went to finally to craft the PDF and submit the draft was it had reverted to previous versions somehow of the documents associated with them and corrupted some of the later versions. So I actually had to do some rework. Like my conclusion and abstract in that rough document, the rough draft that I submitted back on the 10th, those are not even relevant. I don't even know where those came from. And I've since had to recraft them. But I'm also working on that infographic and some other things. But again, all of this is probably fairly irrelevant to most of the people listening, which is...
Yeah, well, not necessarily. So what I'd suggest you do, I mean, you've got, how many essays do you have? They're not that many, right?
There's 12.
There's a lot, but how many are there?
12 essays. They range from between 1 and 3 pages each.
Right. Okay. So
those are all done. Those are fine. There was the conclusion document that was wrong. So if you look at the conclusion, it doesn't even make sense. The abstract document was messed up. There was
so here's what I'm getting at. Okay, so embedded in those Word essays are your citations to these YouTube videos, right?
Well, they're actually they'll be embedded into the PDFs. Once I've generated the PDFs, I've then gone into the PDFs and created each one of those images into a thumbnail link to the appropriate YouTube video. So which is part of the reason I haven't resubmitted my document, because it's an hour's process just for me to recreate the PDF from the Word documents. There's a lot of footwork that goes into that. So having
but there shouldn't be.
Yeah, one would think, right?
So what I'm trying to figure out is like what exactly that should really be in Word. You're spending a lot of time and effort to create a production environment that has embedded YouTube videos, right? Like not a production environment.
Well, they're not actually embedded. I mean, when you click on these thumbnails, they link you. They open your browser and they launch because linking these YouTube videos into the PDF was not something that ever worked. There are just embed links. And I call them embed because that's the reference information coming out of the...
Yeah, it seems to me you're doing like backflips instead of writing it in HTML. What happens if you open your Word document as an HTML document?
I don't know. I've never tried.
Or do a Word to HTML and see how that looks. Use style sheets, and then you can do all the embedding, and you just have like an HTML, and the thing would work perfectly.
Yeah, I would have thought so too. But when I did make the links in Word and then exported it to PDFs, it didn't preserve the information the way I would have hoped.
Well, let's not do PDFs.
Okay. I was just going by what we were asked for, you know, submitting a
Yeah,
PDF.
no, I know, but I mean, but that was like, um, yeah, I don't. For your is this for your thesis or your? Remind me about what your work, what exactly it is that you're delivering here.
So I have my thesis document, and now I'm working on these infographics with Khan, and I've got a worksheet that I've generated that document that isn't the infographic.
Yeah, this is right. Okay, so you guys have okay, so
I mean, I got multiple things going on here.
okay. Yeah, so I guess I've lost track because you've been working with Russ, so I've not really paid close attention to what you're trying to generate. Um, but I, I'd be, I think I mean, if you'd be willing to check out the Word document, see if you can do the links directly in the Word document to YouTube's, and
Yeah,
then save as an HTML
I'll
and
give
look
that
at
a
it in the
shot.
browser and see what it looks like.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to give that a shot. If that's something you folks are willing to accept, it's just the, you know, the wording kept being, you know, a well-crafted PDF. I just wanted to stay within the standards that we were trying to
Yeah.
establish here. If you're okay with accepting an HTML document, I'm happy to try and draft one.
Well,
I've never done it. I'll give it a shot. It's not that, you know, it's not outside of my skill set, not something I couldn't pursue. I will definitely give it an opportunity, you know.
yeah, because if you're how many videos are you talking about linking to?
Well, I mean, the number of videos that are being linked to are either 12 or 13, but I reference each of those multiple times,
Yeah,
upwards of
so that's what I
27.
meant. How many references?
Um, there's a few, either 27 or 30. There's a
Okay,
number.
so
There's
about
a
30 references. Okay.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, that's and how do you have them in a spreadsheet now? Are they sort of managed in any way?
So I've got another Word document where I've just got the corresponding figure they're associated with, so I can quickly copy and edit. Because remember, I had to go into the YouTube video, select the embed code, and then trim that embed code to include start and stop points. So each one of those is a manually crafted link.
Yeah,
It's,
exactly.
you know,
No, I understand how these are built. Yeah, yeah, we should have worked more closely on those because the only start stop times are different, so you can kind of anyway you can do them in spreadsheets really easily, not easily, um, but you can generate the links in spreadsheets by formula because you're right, they're
I
formulaic.
I mean, you know, the way this is set up, this was really kind of my last concern. I've been more concentrating on the content.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I had been hoped to, but I keep getting diverted by all of these little, you know, bumps in the road.
yeah, that's the production aspect of it because you're
Mhm.
producing something and it's like producing digital scholarship is hard,
Sure.
and that's it's different, and that's what you're making is digital scholarship. And so you have to be you have to be concerned with your users as users, not just readers.
Sure. Yeah.
So if you want to give them an experience, right? So you could generate a PDF that's like a print of your HTML. Maybe it doesn't even quote unquote work. The links aren't live. And you can also say, look, here's HTML. Open it up in your browser. See if it works. If it works, great.
Yeah. Well, once I got Russ on board with this, you know, it was about the 5th when I finally heard back from him of November, and we started meeting about this process. One of the first questions he said was, "I don't even know why you're including video in this." So, yeah. So, you know, I mean,
Oh,
right
well, you should
now.
listen to Russ because he's your reader, so it's like,
Well, I mean, you know, he said that once, and I said, "Look, I've already. I thought I had figured out a means by which to include this. I'm happy to do it. You know,
yeah.
we are where we're at. I mean, I have bigger concerns right now as to how I'm going to link to the YouTube videos."
Okay. So yeah, is there anything else going on that you'd other questions about? Let me stop this
So,
recording.
well,
Yeah.
the other question I had in regards to what we're talking about now for this specific spot is copyright releases. I have a lot of, none of the video that I'm referencing was generated by me. Do I need to obtain some sort of copyright release? I mean, I've talked to the professors months ago and they all gave me the thumbs up. Yeah, you go right ahead, use whatever you need. Am I going to be expected? Now we're talking about copyright. Is this copyright release from my work, or is this a copyright for materials I'm using? You know, do
Are
I
they
have to?
licensed? What's the
No,
license of the videos?
um, there's no standard license. I mean, they haven't in any way copyrighted any of these beyond having just generated the work. They haven't gone
Who
out and yeah.
who owns? So where are these at? Geneseo, right?
That's where they were shot. Yeah.
Are they in the Geneseo digital repository?
No, they are on various. They were created on, put on thumb drives, and put to saved within Google Drive amongst people. They were never published in any fashion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's been used. Some of them have been used for classwork. Some of them have been used for help desk training. Some of them have been used. One of them was given to me by a faculty member as it was a project from his class that I had consulted with him on. You know, it's all been used internally by one department or another. Nothing that belongs to like SUNY Geneseo.
Oh, it all belongs to SUNY Geneseo.
Well, yeah, well, as work for hire and whatever, but yeah.
Yeah.
I want to know if this is going to be a concern. Because I am perfectly happy to say that this document never gets published for public consumption. That's, you know, that's
Oh
on
no, we
you.
can't do that.
Okay, well,
No.
whatever. You
Oh
know,
no. That's not how that works.
no, that's
Um,
hey, whatever.
yeah. Yeah, that's interesting questions. We had
The last thing I want is my degree to be held up because we're waiting on some sort of copyright issue. I mean, that's, you know.
right. So how about this?
Yeah.
What if you um do you ever talk to your librarian?
We have many librarians, and I talk to many of them regularly.
Yeah, exactly. Like is there a librarian who's responsible for the um Genesis, does it have a D space?
No, not that I'm aware of. Maybe if we do, I haven't visited it.
Yeah, it probably does. Um yes. So okay, so let's move forward this way. Create a YouTube account that's a new YouTube account.
Uh-huh.
That's that you're using just for this purpose.
Okay.
So that it would be easy to take that account or that repository and ask a library such as SUNY Poly in effect to host it. And then we'll ask the librarian at SUNY Poly what he suggests we do. Whether we should download the YouTube videos or get permission. So I'll ask, but in the meantime, you just build it that way and we'll go ahead and build the links.
So I'm re-uploading these videos to another YouTube channel then.
You'd have to move that? Would that require you to change all your links?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so that's not a good idea, is it?
Yeah, it doesn't, I don't find it thrilling.
Yeah. You know, yeah.
I have these raw, well, they're not raw. I have these compressed files saved on my computer. I have them saved on a Google Drive space. Then I've uploaded them to my own YouTube channel for use within this project. I mean, I have them in areas that we can, put them wherever needs to be on the back end. I'm going to be including these raw file or these video files with the submission information. I mean, they will be had by the librarians at SUNY Poly.
Okay.
I mean, this is part of it. They will be included with my submission material. So it's not like they're going anywhere.
Yeah, so this is all about just getting into play in a live presentation mode.
Well, I mean, again, for the immediate document, as long as we're willing to say, if you're watching this 5 years from now, these YouTube links may have gone away, then we're good. That's fine.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. I'm happy with it then.
Yeah. All right. Anything?